testing is not about preventing errors anymore in the complex world. Is to learn about what is working and what is not working. So it's about learning, not about having it right. Have you ever seen on a Friday like today, you put something in production, you did the best test that you can, the best development, but suddenly you're called during the weekend. I used the ISTQB to get certified and everything. I was looking at how to test. For 20 years, I said that what I do wrong, because there's still problem in production. I'm not building bridges. Bridges, we cannot talk to each other. They are not interacting. But I'm in software, and now software talks to another software.
Welcome to Software Testing Unleashed. My name is Richie and I have another episode from the TestCon 5 conference from Mauritius. My guest was Jean-François Riverin. We talked about why software is not just engineering, why our systems are complex like medicine and weather, not complicated like a bridge, why testing is about learning and not about being right, and what that means for the next release. That's all you hear in this episode, and now enjoy. Hi, Jean-François. Great
Hi.
to have you on the show here.
Thank you. It's my first podcast.
Oh, the first one. Yeah, it will not be the last one, maybe.
I hope so.
Yeah. It's great that you are here. We are here at the TestCon 5 in Mauritius, on the great island here, and and hopefully we can enjoy also the weather outside the conference building a little bit.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you had already your talk here at the conference,
Yes, I have.
and I saw your abstract and translated it to German. I understand it
Oh,
because
you did.
it was in French, the abstract. And it was about a new viewpoint, a new perspective to Agile, or maybe Agile done right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's new because if you look at on the internet or ChatGPT, there's nothing about what I'm talking about. It's something that come in mind for me, that's saying that are we right in the way we're testing and developing our software? So the point was that you look at that and you say that why there's still problems with the software, why there's crash, why the software is still crashing, why are we always in chaotic mode trying to solve problems, why we're supposed to know the answers and to test properly. And we're here at the test conference saying that you should test well, you should get right answers. But it's not the case. Yeah. And I'm exploring why it's not the case.
Yeah. So now we are curious.
And it's where I found that there's something that you said we're engineers. But it looks wrong to me that we're engineers. We're not just engineers. We start with the code. Yeah, yes, engineering. We build code. We build softwares. But then something happens. Softwares get integrated into other softwares, create an ecosystem. It communicates with other softwares, and then suddenly maybe we're not in the engineering realm anymore. Maybe we're in something more complex. And it's why I use this framework to say that we're going from the complicated, where we have the best solution, the best answer, and we switch to something that is complex, more like ecosystem, like the medical, the living world, even finance is like that, or meteorology. So if we switch the paradigm, then you don't have the right answer. And maybe it's why we struggle. We try to have the right answer, but we're not able to, because we're in the complex world where a doctor himself doesn't know everything. He tries to see what you're having, give you some good medication, but sometimes it doesn't work, and he has to understand why.
Yeah.
Exactly what we should do with software.
Yeah. What are the typical solutions we try to use in our complicated world for the complex problems, and why they are not working?
What is not working is that you try. One of the things that the ASQB says that you cannot test everything. That's already something that is should sound a bell. That if you cannot know everything, then you try to solve everything. you're trying to have the test at the end and test everything, but since it's not possible, we're not using the right paradigm. So what we try to do in a complicated world is that if I test the best way with the best things, then I will have all the result, all the answers. And then we said that if I'm developing the software, the architecture and everything, and they give you the software to test, you will be able to test it, and I should not have any surprise in production. That's where we're wrong. Then we're seeing errors in production, and it happens, and we don't understand why. And some lot of the times testers are blamed. Say, why haven't you tested this and that? Why do you forecast everything that happens?
Yeah.
And when you look at the framework and saying that the problematic is complex, it's the complex says it's not possible. It's non you cannot predict it, so it's unpredictable. So it's just afterwards that you can know the right answer or no.
Yeah, yeah.
Or not. So you need to test often, not just one big development per year or by per month. The smaller portion of the code that you can put in production and test it and make sure it works, the better it is. The more, because testing is not about preventing errors anymore in the complex world, is to learn about what is working and what is not working. So it's about learning, not about having it right.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's the huge shift we have to do, and I can totally relate to that because in Germany and in all German-speaking countries we are pure engineers a lot. We get all our DIN norm standards and all the stuff, and we optimized and automated everything. And if you're so deep in this complicated world and you have these sophisticated solutions, then it's so hard to come there to the complex world. Yeah.
But if you have doctors in Germany,
Yeah.
are they engineers? No, they are not called them engineers. Like you're a farmer. You cannot predict what's going to happen. You have to go on the field every day, see if the weather, the water, the sun, what's going on, is the crop is growing or not. And medicine is the same thing. You have to go to your doctor, and you cannot predict what is going to happen to you in 5 years.
Yeah.
But if you're an engineer, you can create a bridge, and say this bridge is good for a flood, 100-year flood, but not 1,000 year, because I can calculate what's going to happen in 1,000 years, because it's predictable.
Yeah.
You can do it, but you cannot do it when it's unpredictable.
Yeah.
It's something that's really different.
Yeah, yeah. When we look at the complex solutions and paradigms, you told about the smart learning. What are other perspectives we have to take in to solve the complex problems?
The perspective to solve a complex problem is use what we're going with Agile, what we're going with DevOps. It's to use solutions that say that go in production often, small, do experiments, not try to fail to safe. They call that in complicated word in engineering, the fail to safe. So it's designed with backup solutions to make sure it doesn't fail. But for us, it's more safe to fail. So in our case, it's another paradigm where we want to experiment. We want this, whether it works or not, it's not important. We want to learn about it. So if it doesn't work, if it's small, it doesn't create a big problem. So you can use and can learn. The important things in software now, it will be in the complex world to learn about what's going to happen. You don't know the customer reactions, so you need to go in production, say, oh, it's working or it's not working. You have those big data anymore now with the AI world that we're living in, that AI can itself be able to change his own code and use the data that in a way that we don't know, never expected. It means that we're really in a complex world, because we cannot even predict what is going to happen. So we need to go that often, see the results, and adapt accordingly.
I think this is a huge step for a lot of people or teams when they come from the old world or from the complicated world, because there are still complicated problems. Maybe how can we support teams, and how can we bring them to this new mindset, this new perspective?
we need to talk about it. I think it's what I saw. Even myself, it took me more than 20 years to realize that I'm not applying the right paradigm because I'm kind of an analytic person. So I wanted to have the right answer, the right solution. And when there was a bug and there was a problem with the software, I always ask myself, did I do wrong? And I used the ISTQB to get certified and everything. I was looking at how to test. For 20 years, I said that what I do wrong because there is still problem in production. To figure out that maybe I was not applying the right solution. Is I should have taken another way. It's just to think out of the box, not staying in this paradigm because you said that, oh, it's unpredictable. And then look at what I developed five principles that I showed here today in the presentation. Said use those principles of the complex world, saying that you need to adapt, you need to fail safe, have the retroactions, feedback loops. You need to also get your metrics right and everything, and monitoring. So if you put monitoring metrics and you get data, then you're able to take decisions based on those data instead of saying of trying to solve all the problems because it's unsolvable. It's not something that you can predict. So you need to change the mindset. We need to talk about it. I don't see this kind of lectures in the ISTQB. It just explains how to do things, and I think we're on the wrong way if you are trying to continue in that way. When we put, the ISTQB Foundation 5 years ago, decided to have the new Foundation 4.0, and we put Agile and DevOps in it, but we didn't go in deep. We still have the engineering view of it into the STQB, but we put some complex without explaining why DevOps is working. So we said that use those techniques, it will work, but it only work if you have the right data and say that is the right technique for the right problem.
I think when we look at teams who are in their daily business and all stuff, and someone hears this episode and said, okay, yeah, we should go there. I think experience is one of the parts that a team can good make some learnings and the first steps into that. When we look at testing, what do you think would be a good start when we have coming from the old world to say, okay, what can we do first to get the first step into it?
Really changed in my mind when I try to use a complex because I'm coming from those worlds is that what is a doctor can do, what he will do, what is so he will use all his knowledge to try to fix a problem, but just be humble, saying that maybe it's not the right answer. Even ChatGPT says that it's 89 or 95% the right answer, but it's never 100% the right answer because it's in complex world anyways where it's a human relation. So if it's not 100%, we should be humble, look at what we're doing and make sure that you're learning from your experience and try to apply the best thing you can, but knowing that it may be not the solution at the end. So go in production, try to deploy, try to convince your. Sometimes the problem is the managers and the business world where they say that you should predict. I have a budget. You should go in the budget, but you cannot ask that for a doctor. You cannot ask that for software. We need to switch the paradigm. We need to talk about it. We need to go to the business, to the managers and say, it's not working. Give them some I would say loose some way to work. So give them freedom to work and learn. Let your developers, let your software testers learn about what's going on, and they will come up with the best solution at the time, but they will only know afterwards. So don't expect them to know before. It's not how it works.
Yeah, yeah. That reminds me on the discussion I had. I heard last year in Germany there was where a software engineer stated that we have this misunderstanding that software is science, and it is not science. It is.
Yeah, in my term, it's maybe what I said at the end of the conference is that the term I come up with maybe not the best one. Is maybe the complex software world or not the bioengineers software. But I just want to highlight that we're engineers because we're creating code. There's still engineering in part of it, like a bioengineer, not software, but a bioengineer is trying to change the function of a cells in your body. Then we're doing that, but we're doing more than that. That's why the bio is really important. And that is that it's complex. So you should use engineering in a complex world. Try to have the best solution, but know that this is maybe not the right answer. You come up with the best one that you have at the time. Like meteorologists, they're never able to predict 5 days in a upfront. So it's because it's a complex thing. And even in finance, you don't know if finance was engineering, everybody will be rich, but it's not. So
Yeah, yeah. When I'm totally clear with that, do you have an argument for me which I can take and can go to my CEO and say, we have to change something because.
the argument is the chaos. The argument is what I started the conference with is that have you ever seen on a Friday like today, you put something in production, you did the best test that you can, the best development, but suddenly you're called during the weekend, the fire is, there's a fire, your department of they receive a lot of calls, and the customer department a lot of calls. You need to fix things, but even when you fix, you create another problem. It's not predictable. You're always in this rush because they don't want to go in production anymore because they say, "Oh, it's not safe to go in production. Just wait for 6 months before go in production." And then there's a big problem, a rollback, and everything. It costs a lot not using the right solution because when you're using a complicated paradigm in a complex world, you always come back. It's what the framework says, and do the chaotic paradigm. So you're in chaos. You're on fire. You try to extinguish fire. You try to solve a problem that you're in a big problem in a big an urgent problem. So the argument is that if you don't do that, you will always have the same result. Trying to apply the same solutions and saying that maybe I've not hired the right person, maybe Richard, you're not the right person, I will hire someone else, the problem will stay the same because it's fundamental. It's not about the knowledge. It's not about your capacity to work. And they always say that, oh, it's unpredictable, the software. But yes, it is. So you need, what you do when it's unpredictable, you look at it. You don't try to plan upfront, but not too much upfront. We try to plan just for the next release small, and do it. So you need to convince him is to say that, are you tired to work in a world where we always have customers complaining, fix to do? The value of what we can deliver is half what we are delivering today because we have to fix bug, fix problem, go to the customer support. You really want to change that, and changing that is to develop small, early, frequently, and then learn about what you can.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so now we have some arguments to go to our managers and CEOs and
They
convince
should
them.
listen to that. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Otherwise, we can send them this podcast episode, and then they maybe they are going this way.
This podcast is there's no picture with him, but with it. But I think that we can send a presentation and we can go and show them how it can work. But just be pragmatic. Look at the world, and it's called the Kinevin framework. Anyway, it's a Gaelic word, but it's this framework is something that exists from Dave Snowden since 2000, and was not really well known and not taught in some industries, but in software, it's really not taught, and they just need to read about it and say it makes sense. I'm not building bridges. Bridges we cannot talk to each other. They are not interacting. But I'm in software, and now software talks to another software. There's AI inside of it. So why not saying that? Oh, what I can change? How can I change my company to make sure that the software will not break? We don't want that anyway. So
yeah, that's great. Maybe we can also put the link for your presentation into the show notes or something like that. Would be great for the community. Yeah. Jean-François, great that you were here in the show and gave us this insight away from from the complicated world to the complex world and gave us some ideas and solutions for that. Thank you very much. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference and a lot of the island on the weekend.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.